Welcome back, baby boys. We're here. We got a video about the Champions League and Europa League group stage that just commenced. We'll let you know everything that happened, who goes through, who gets knocked out, and who might be retiring. Starting off our roundup of the group stages. First group, obviously got to go with A. Most important for me, as a neutral, I don't really give a shit about any team except for Napoli.
Man, who would have thought? 5 wins.
Not me.
Not me. Who would have thought? 5 wins, 1 loss, just because.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
it's the
last game against Liverpool, who they kind of need some momentum going right now. So beating Napoli might give them a little jump. But we've been saying that about a few games this past for Liverpool season.
Every time they drop points, it seems like the next game they bounce back, they get a result. They're doing well. But then, they go into the Premier League or the Champions League, vice versa, and then they drop points.
A little rocky.
It's the same story every time.
Super underwhelming from Rangers. Absolutely terrible. 6 losses.
Shout out for being the worst Champions League team statistically in the history of the Champions League.
That's
what an accomplishment. I mean, up the Aberdeen, honestly, always. But at the same time, you want to see teams that don't usually do well or advance in the knockout rounds. You want to see them do somewhat competitive.
Better than Liverpool.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ajax, they kind of ended up where we thought. 3rd place with 6 points. I mean, decent enough for them.
Pretty expected. Losing their manager, plus you got Napoli, who's been a powerhouse this season, and Liverpool, who you do need to count on them in the Champions League to score and win. So, not very unexpected of a group.
Next group, Group B.
In case you didn't know.
You see Atletico. Let's just start it off there. It's the elephant in the group.
Gone.
4th place. Absolutely abysmal.
Not even Europa League.
Like, the fact that, and Leverkusen, what are they doing too? You would expect, honestly, I would expect Leverkusen and Atletico to go through. And
potentially Porto or Leverkusen, 2 or 3.
But Porto topping it with Bruges, who played outstanding in the group stages, and they're going to get a huge financial boost for all those wins, because you get insane money in the Champions League just from winning a game.
4 games, no goals given up for Bruges, and then these last 2 games they've kind of not really collapsed because they've still come second in the group, but they've done really well this year.
Yeah,
exceeded far beyond any expectation that anybody had. But really, the thing to talk about is Porto.
Porto is shining. Doing bits right now in this group. They had 4 wins and 2 losses. Their 2 losses were kind of BS, but they did very well. 1st place in their group. They're gonna get the opportunity to play against the team who got 2nd in a different group, so they'll be more likely to go through. Hopefully for them.
Yeah, especially in their main league in the Liga NOS. They've done so well. They've absolutely dominated every game. They've not lost a game yet this year in the league. So for them to just keep going on this run, kind of similar to how Napoli is, you expect them to do well, to be okay. They're good European quality teams, but you're not expecting them to top the groups. And those teams just went on crazy runs, and that's what they've done.
Yeah. Twitter's great. Group C. Bayern top, Inter 2nd, Barca 3rd, Plzen 4th. We kind of expected that. This group was a very, very interesting group. 3 powerhouse teams. We kind of expected Victoria to be where they are in 4th. But the other 3, super big teams, super big history.
Yeah, on paper, this was the best group.
Yeah.
But when they actually went out on the pitch and played, it wasn't.
Bayern Munich. Dominant.
Absolutely.
I have to give a shout out to Choupo-Moting, who I absolutely
thought was
so shit at PSG, and he's been pretty much shit everywhere. Well, he's been alright. He's done a job. But at this Bayern Munich team, I mean,
they don't miss Lewandowski at all.
No, they got Choupo-Moting.
I mean, let's be honest. The German league is not the highest of standards.
It's a good-ass league. Top 5 league in the world.
But it is a good league. And this is showing that you don't have to be, the best striker in the world to do bits for this Bayern team.
Yeah.
Because there's no comparing Choupo-Moting and Lewandowski. You can't do that. But in that system,
Yeah.
Choupo-Moting is eating.
Yeah, and we see Inter getting results when they need to, honestly. Against Barcelona, beating Victoria, like...
And at least putting up somewhat of a fight against Bayern.
And I think it's so interesting the way that they've been playing throughout the group. In a lot of their games in the League 2, I'm pretty sure it's Barella, Mkhitaryan, and Çalhanoğlu.
Yeah.
In your midfield three.
And
that's a defensive... That's a defensive system, and that's your midfield three. Those are three... Barella will give you the energy. He's an energetic. He runs for days. But Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan...
Sorry for butchering the name, by the way. We're fucking white Americans. We're not going to say it right.
Mkhitaryan and the Turkish man.
Yeah.
And Barella as your midfield three. And the way that they played, the way they have against teams like Barcelona, that's insane. Barcelona, terrible. Absolutely abysmal.
Dropping down to the Europa League, but also possibly more important... No, definitely more important in their history overall. Yeah. Their greatest center back of all time is retiring.
Well, it's debatable. People say Puyol. Puyol.
No. Piqué is an absolute mad lad who, yes, has divided some of the fans in Spain at times, but he has always maintained his spot in the top 10 defenders of the last decade. I mean, he is...
The last 2 years or so.
At 36, at 34,
it's
35,
understandable.
36.
Amazing career, though.
Got to give a shout out, but I think he's only leaving because now they're out of the Champions League and he doesn't really have much to play for.
And honestly, he is... I saw a tweet. Twitter's the best app.
Shout out. Elon
is giving up 30 million of what Barcelona owe him. 30 million. Just because, hey, you know what? You love the club, but fuck, I want my 30 million.
If I sign a contract for Manchester United today and they're like, hey, look, man, we really need we need to pay you out this money. We'll give you, 2 million of the 30. I'm saying, fuck you, sit me on the bench. Yeah. I'm getting my money, damn it. I mean, but he's a better man than I am. So that's probably why he'll be the president of Barcelona one day. Let's be honest.
Moving on, Group D. Tottenham topping, Frankfurt second, Sporting, and then Marseille. Marseille in the Champions League, underwhelming as always. Sporting, I would say I would expect Sporting in third with that group. I expect Frankfurt and Tottenham to go through.
Yeah, especially after Frankfurt wins the Europa League. They have that momentum. They have that real belief that, hey, we've won a major European trophy.
They want to keep going.
We can do well. We are not, they may be...
They played well.
Yeah, they played really well. Every game, they were competitive. And this is one of the more interesting groups if you watch the games, because this group actually came down to the last 25 minutes.
We see an insane scenes at Tottenham. And then the way that they go through, and they should have just done way better than what they did. They're playing very underwhelming for the players that they have. But they edged it out in the end. I mean, like you said, group came down to the last 20 minutes or so. So it probably one of the more competitive groups of all groups.
Yeah. You take number 1 and number 4, the discrepancy between those teams is not that great.
Yeah.
But Spurs, like Tanner said, were able to get one last winner and then, really just top the group. So good for them, but they're going to come up against a second-place team, and they might not find themselves in such a favorable position.
E for elephant. Chelsea first, Milan second, Salzburg third, Dynamo fourth. That's kind of how I would expect it, honestly, to go through.
Yeah.
Looking at it on paper.
Maybe Dynamo can put up a little bit more of an effort against Red Bull, but
Milan very underwhelming against Chelsea. That was very disappointing from them.
Yeah.
Chelsea aren't that great either, I would say. They're not in the most form right now. They're playing well. They're playing decent.
In the Premier League,
isn't playing. So.
In the Premier League, they've done pretty well, but that's a totally different beast, as you all know, to the Champions League. I'm thinking about the A competition still. Sorry.
Bruh.
But Chelsea, just for whatever reason, after winning the Champions League a couple years ago, they just don't seem to fit the Champions League style. I don't know what it is about the team. They beat Dynamo 2-1 on the end of the last game to win the group and really just solidify that. But those Dynamo fans were absolutely crazy. They made that environment not a normal Stamford Bridge environment.
Out of the first place teams, Chelsea would probably be one of the teams I wouldn't say I'd want to play against, because you don't want to play against Chelsea because they're such an amazing team.
You would expect them to struggle the most against a
lot of the other
quality
first place teams, them and Tottenham, honestly, but they go through first place. Congrats.
Group F, we saw Real Madrid top the group. Obvious, pretty cut and dry group, really. This is probably the most boring group on paper and watching the games of the year, but
I didn't enjoy it.
I mean, some of the games were okay, but once again, we see Celtic,
Scottish team
doing so fucking
underperforming,
bad. Doing so bad. They're just, the Scottish League has been heralded by so many Premier League fans the last couple of years as, it's this great league where you develop players, you really find out what they're worth, and they've just completely shit the bed in the Champions League this year. To have two teams just amount to less than 3 points is shocking, honestly.
We see Leipzig, they go through second, only 1 point behind Madrid in the points bracket. Werner got hurt. Sad to see.
Out for the World Cup, unfortunately.
I'm not like a Werner fan, but I don't like to see anybody miss out on the World Cup. Being out for the World Cup, no matter what country you're from or who you are,
it hurts.
It sucks. You don't want to be injured for that. And this mid-season World Cup, which is a whole different video topic and craziness, but this World Cup,
look out for that.
It's going to be interesting, and hopefully there's not many more injuries.
Wow. Okay.
Group G with the real G's. Manchester City. We get first, as per expected. Dortmund second, Sevilla third, Copenhagen fourth. I'd expect Copenhagen fourth, but I feel like Sevilla should have done more, and
Tanner's got a real hard on for La Liga a lot of the time.
No.
And he wants to see, Sociedad, Sevilla.
No.
He wants to see these teams do well.
I don't want to see Sevilla. I would want Dortmund to do better than Sevilla, but I was underwhelmed by Sevilla and what I expected from them. Dortmund, though, got Reina. They got American on them, so obviously I want them to be going through. City first, as expected, going crazy. Haaland going crazy. He's coming back in a day or two. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
Ain't no worry.
Yet another group where the German and Premier League team both go through.
Yeah.
And what's wild is, for the first time ever, 8 of the 16 teams in the in the knockouts are either Premier League or Bundesliga teams.
Very impressive.
Half of the teams are presented by 2 leagues. And that just shows the quality that the Premier League and the Bundesliga, they are developing, but they have. They have some teams that are really, really good quality, but we'll see if they can continue to make runs other than Bayern. I mean, Frankfurt, you expect to do well. Dortmund, you expect to do well, but Bayern, obviously, you expect them damn near to win the whole thing. So we'll see who of the groups, or who of the English or Bundesliga teams can go the furthest.
Last group.
Group H.
Group H, we see Benfica. Wow.
Who'd have thought?
Again, one of those teams you wouldn't have thought to get top spot, considering the other teams that are in this group. A very interesting group from the start when you look at it on paper. Maccabi, you expected them to get last. They got last. But Juve, 3 points, very underwhelming. PSG getting second, probably would have thought they would have got first.
I would have bet money, honestly, at the beginning of the group stages that, it finishes PSG, Juve, Benfica.
That's what I would have thought as well.
But, we were obviously wrong, and that's why the games are played, Benfica actually ends up winning the group on away goals scored, which is the 6th tiebreaker that they have to go to decide who wins the group. PSG, if they'd have just got one more, they'd have had it.
Yeah, very interesting to see that from those teams. Juve, though, McKinney hurt. Hopefully back from the World Cup. I'm thinking he'll be back. That's what we're
As long as they
hearing.
don't play him, yeah. I mean, hopefully no setbacks.
Yeah, but very underwhelming from Juve overall. Allegri, once Juve gets some more money, they're probably going to sack him.
Pay that contract out.
They're in some trouble right now, and we don't even know if they'll get top 4 in Serie A.
And that would be real disastrous for them.
That's very for their season. They need top 4. They can't not get top 4.
Yeah. We've been through all of the B competition groups, everything that you need to know about the Champions League, but now we got to really move on to the big daddy, the Europa League.
Oh man.
I mean, this competition right here,
Man.
guys, is just football heritage. Like just the amount of class that is in the Europa League is staggering.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in our group, we weren't able to win it.
Okay.
We came in second to Real Sociedad.
Sociedad.
But let's be
Real
honest.
Sociedad. That's my favorite La Liga team. Let it be known.
Like I said, on that Schmeat,
Let it be known.
let's be honest. United should have topped that group. I mean, there is no way you can tell me that we didn't deserve to top that group, because if you remember, and I know you guys do because you guys get as pissed off as I do.
United losing 1-0 at Old Trafford to Real Sociedad.
I didn't even have to fucking say it because of some bullshit handball that came off of the man's leg and then hits his elbow. I mean, guys, you remember how upset I was.
Okay,
you
all
know
right.
how
We can't
upset
live in
I
the past, though.
But, I know you love it. But, United come in second. They weren't able to do enough. They did beat Sociedad 1-0 today. They needed it 2-0. They weren't able to get it done to win the group. Garnacho, shout out. Young man. I mean, we need our next star boy. City's got Foden. We need the next young, up-and-coming player to really start to dig out a role in this squad, and that's what he started to do. The guy just absolutely idolizes Ronaldo, and that's good and bad because I don't want him to be, kind of jaded like Ronaldo is a lot of time, and be a real team.
But if that's
player.
what you have to do to get that quality,
But if that's what we got to do to get some Champions Leagues and some Premier Leagues, I'll take it. I mean, if he needs to be like that, I'll take it if he's that successful. But you can't be Ronaldo without the stats to back it up.
Interesting, though, for Ronaldo and Man United. Not really Ronaldo, but Man United. I think it's not Player of the Month in the Premier League, but Man United Player of the Month, I saw the last 3 have been 3 Ten Hag signings. Interesting enough. Casemiro.
What?
Hold on. Anthony? No. Fuck.
Eriksen?
Eriksen and
The little man.
Martinez. That's the little
Martinez.
Argentinian.
The guys have gone absolutely crazy for their manager. The last 3 months, like Tanner said, 3 new signings winning the Player of the Month just shows you the quality that this team has lacked for the last, 5 years in certain positions. So
definitely what you want to see from a new manager coming in.
Yeah.
Like his new signings are how they do reflects on him, and so them coming in, being impactful, being exactly what they need, and not just coming in and doing well, exceeding doing what they should and more. Basically,
Yeah.
Martinez showing out, like everybody doubting him. Honestly, I kind of doubted him a little bit, not because his height, just because it's Ajax and he was good, and adapting to the Premier League is very, very difficult. But he's done it well. Like, yeah, he's done it well. You never know. Who gives a fuck about his height? Like, that doesn't matter.
I mean, even one of, like we've said, unfortunately, I hate to say it as it comes out of my mouth, but one of the best center backs of the last couple of years, Virgil van Dijk, came out and said, he's my hero. I need his autograph. No, but he said, the height thing doesn't really matter. Is it a bonus? Yeah, it can help. But he said the way that he's playing, his ball distribution has been top class. And he is
coming from Van Dijk, from probably the best center back in the Premier League past 5 years or so.
Easy. So, I mean, that praise from him it just shows you everyone is now recognizing, except for Graham Souness and Jamie Carragher. We know you're watching. Shout out, give my boy some respect. We know that he is becoming one of the better center backs in the Premier League. And as long as they can continue this momentum, I think we'll still do well in the Europa League. But it is tough getting second and having to play an extra game that is a knockout with a Champions League, third place team dropping down that we have to face. So potentially some struggles down the road, but I mean, we're growing. To get second in this group and then only on goal difference, not too bad.
All right, that's it. That's all we have. You've seen it. You know what happened.
You loved it.
We'll be back next week or something like that. Who knows? With World Cup action, we got more Premier League games right before the World Cup. We're gonna give our predictions. We got some stuff coming. Stay tuned.
Look for it.
Yeah. Nice.